And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you. Joyce Keller back with us, internationally respected psychic medium, author of a number of best-selling books featured in both issues of Simon & Schuster's Top Psychics in America, Who's Who, as well as the Best Psychics in the U.S. Directory. She is the host of one of the longest-running metaphysical radio shows in the world called Time for Joy, and is now kicking off a new live call-in show with Ryan McCormick, which she does, called Blog Talk Radio, called Messages from Heaven. Joyce, welcome back. How have you been?
Oh, George, thank you. You are the original Nighthawk, and I salute you.
Yes, I am.
You are the Nighthawk. You know, I have to tell you, George, I've been fine. Thank you. I recently had an incredible dream about your aunt, Caligula Shafika. I guess that's correct.
Shafika Caregula.
Okay, yes, I did not get it correctly.
My late aunt.
Yes. Well, I did not know who she was, but she came to me, and I guess she acknowledged my connection with the Edgar Cayce ARE Foundation, because that was they are the publisher of my last book, Why Am I Here? So she was very connected to the Edgar Cayce Foundation also, even though, as we all know, she was a doctor of psychiatry. Is that correct, George?
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
So she came to me in a dream a couple of nights ago, and she said, "You're going to be on with my nephew." And I said, "That's right." And I tried to get her name. I had a little difficulty, but she said that she passed away in 1986, if that's correct also, and that she wrote 2 books. So I researched it, and she wrote Breakthrough to Creativity, and also The High Sense Perception, I believe, of Research Foundation. So she had a lot to write. What was so interesting is that she made a jump from the conventional world of psychiatry to the Edgar Cayce Foundation, which is why we had this connection. And she became an ardent follower of Edgar Cayce after she read his book, The Mystery Man of Miracles. So that really turned her life around. And I'm sure you know all this already, but I'm just learning about it now. So this is very enlightening to me.
You know how she passed away, Joyce?
Yes, she indicated that it was a bizarre accident, which I'm going to talk about in 1 second. But I wanted to tell you, George, she came through with the most gentle but powerful energy, just extremely gentle and loving, but very powerful. And she said she passed away from a bizarre accident that had to do with water and electricity, and that's all that she said.
She was listening to the radio, and the radio fell into the tub.
That's the water. Thank you.
And she got electrocuted that way.
Yes, because she said water and electricity. So I said, I will have to ask George.
Thank God she wasn't listening to me when she got fried. My God.
Oh, my God. That's right. But she is so proud of you, and she's so proud of the work that you're doing. And she loves the fact that you're connected to the Edgar Cayce Foundation also, as I am. And I've been a member of ARE, the Association for Research and Enlightenment, for many, many years. And I've been to Virginia Beach many times. So I wanted to thank you for this opportunity, Joyce.
That's so great. It's always good getting you back on, Joyce, and I enjoy your emails and your poignant remarks and everything.
I hope I don't overdo it, but I'm so happy that you're on the air, George, because there's no other show like yours. And it's always an amazing, amazing show. And like the gal who was just on before me and the people who call in Thomas from La Jolla and all the callers, they were all like family. And George, I think the best thing is that you have said so many times that so many of us who are alone are not alone because we have you 7 nights a week. So thank you.
We're going to be on live on Thanksgiving coming up in a few weeks, so we'll be live on Christmas night and Christmas Eve. I think I've got Connie Willis doing that Sunday night show, and we'll be live on New Year's Eve and New Year's night. It's so important, Joyce, and I realized this a long time ago, that there are a lot of people who don't have family, and we become their family. And
absolutely.
I mean, they look forward to, they might wake up on Christmas morning alone, but they know we're going to be there for them at night. And they they're all excited about it. They plan their day around this radio show, and I'm never going to let them down.
George, I have been listening to you for so many years. You know that. And I recently lost my husband, and
sorry to hear that.
Thank you. I've been so busy doing psychic readings and psychic work, but there's an aloneness, is there such a word as aloneness, that sets in late at night because I was used to having a husband, and instead I have Coast to Coast. And I thank you very, very much. I appreciate the work that all of you do, you and Tom and Lisa and the whole gang. I really love you, so thank you.
How's your son Scott doing?
My son Scott is still doing. Thank you for asking, George. He loves being on your show, and he's doing a lot of not only his usual chiropractic work, but he's also doing a lot of therapy. He's helping people psychologically. I think a lot of his patients are so traumatized from this whole COVID situation, as you were discussing before, that they are lost. So therapists are very, very important now. But the importance of your show, George, is that you help people quell their fears. I mean, they're afraid of being alone. You're there for them. I appreciate that very much. And you're helping change the energy of the planet at a time that I know that the energy is shifting, and we want it to shift in the right direction. So I can't say I really believe in predictions. I think the predictions that were put out by Nostradamus and the people you have on your show, including myself, are basically what might happen. But I think it's the will of mankind that determines the outcome. And I don't know if you agree with that, but I think your show is so important because it's helping to channel our energies in the right direction. Like we have this war going on now, I don't know how many wars are on the planet at this moment, but the energy has to change. And the children who are being born now are not going to put up with this nonsense of wars and vaccines and all of that. I mean, the consciousness is changing. That's the purpose of Coast to Coast. So I thank you very much for changing our energy on this planet.
You're very welcome. What have you been doing lately?
Well, I'm writing my 12th book, which, as I said, I'm dedicating to you and for all the work that you've done. I think it's important that before you were discussing this movie about near-death experiences that has just come out recently.
Right, near-death, yeah.
Yeah, Sandra Champlain and you were discussing it, and Cate, the guest who was just on before. And it's very important that people see that, but I have a problem with that because I've had so many, many metaphysical experiences in my life, but I can't say I really have had a near-death experience. I've had a number of close-death experiences. So I think it's a whole different category where you almost die, but you don't quite die. And, George, I know you know so much, but do you know what actually determines the real moment of death?
Tell me your thoughts.
Okay, I'll give you the Hindu version first. They said it's the severing of the sutratma, or the silver, as we call it, the silver cord. And once that cord is severed, there's no coming back into the body. The people who had near-death experiences have not had the severing of the silver cord, which Shirley MacLaine showed in a movie Out on the Limb many years ago. She was the first one to show that in this country, so I salute her for that. It's really important that people understand that, you know, I have a problem. I have to tell you, George, I have to tell you my problem.
What's your problem?
That people of a number of different faiths are buried very quickly. And I think back to these 1700s and 1800s when there were bells attached to the inside of coffins. This is gruesome, I know, but I have to tell you. And because they were so afraid of being buried alive. And this is one of the things I do in my books and the writings and the teachings that I do, how to determine the actual death experience. What really happens? How do you know when the person is really gone? I saw my dad leave his body, and I said, okay, he's gone, but it takes 3 days, from what my teachers have told me. It takes 3 days for the complete essence, complete human essence to leave the body. So that's what I have to say about that. I don't believe in quick burials. I know so many religions put those people on the ground so quickly. I'm saying, what's the big rush? Why are they rushing, George? I mean, I don't really understand that. So if I had one mission in life, I would say, don't bury people so quickly.
That's true. We're with Psychic Joyce Keller. Her website is her name, linked up at coasttocoastam.com. Joyce, what do you think of miracles? Are they real?
George, miracles are real. Edgar Cayce wrote, I forgot the name of this book about. It's The Man of Miracles. He didn't write any books, but that book was written about him because the work that he did was so miraculous. Excuse me. So what a miracle is something that I think we don't understand. Like the sun comes up. 1,000 years ago, they said it's a miracle. Well, maybe they just didn't understand. So it's a matter of understanding. I do believe that people can experience miracles. They can have miraculous healings, miraculous experiences, and there's just no end to it. I think that God is great and anything is possible. And if you want to call it a miracle, that's a great idea. I've had many, many miracles occur, and if I have one that's so bizarre, I have to share it with you. Would that be okay?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Well, you know, my wonderful husband, Jack, passed away a few years ago, and I hate to tell you where I was, but I was in the bathroom, and I was thinking about him. I was thinking, boy, Jack, I really miss you. So then I left the bathroom. I came back to the bathroom like 2 or 3 hours later, and on the bathroom floor was an engagement ring that had not been there before, but it was from the popcorn box. Do you remember the old Jack in the Box little gifts that used to?
Oh, yeah. We always used to buy Jack in the Box just to get the little prize.
Yeah. So his name was Jack, and there was this ring. I swear to you, this is the truth. On the bathroom floor, covered with like some kind of popcorn dust. I don't know what it was, but I cleaned it off, and I put it, I think it's on my website. I'm not sure where it is. But this ring, I had no way of explaining why the ring was there. It's like, where did that come from? And then I said, Jack in the Box sent you the ring. And I've been an old practitioner of evanescence and materialization. And I know that you know what that is, George.
Oh, yeah.
Gifts come from spirit. So they're evanescent. And they're called apports, APPORTS. So those are wonderful gifts that the spirit world brings us, and it's not always easy. But I felt that Saint Germain had worked with him, and they had done that. Saint Germain was a great master of metallurgy and of miracles. He also created miracles. So there are so many strange things going on. I hesitated to speak about this. I really told very few people about it because they said, oh, please, how is that possible? And I didn't really believe it myself, but it really is true. I've had many experiences like that, of these wonderful gifts that come from the spirit world. So I had lost, in Florida, I actually lost my mother's engagement ring, which is very valuable. And I was wearing it on vacation. I was in Florida, even though I lived in New York. And I think I lost my mother's engagement ring at the beach in Florida. So I had to come back to New York, and without the ring, my mother had passed away, so I didn't have to tell her that I had lost her ring. But that ring was gone for over a year. And I ran ads in the newspaper, on the web. I ran ads everywhere. I said, look, if you find my ring, I really didn't know where I lost it. But after 1 year, almost to the day, I was awakened about 3 o'clock in the morning, and one of my teachers, one of my spirit guides, said to me, Joyce, go look in the second drawer next to the bathroom sink.
No way. Wow.
I swear this is true. So that took a whole year for the ring to come from Florida back to New York. And it was, I don't know the process of how that would be possible. But I do know that you can get gift spirits, you can get coins. My husband brings me money. He brings me mostly quarters and pennies, which I'm very happy to have. But the ring was really the most amazing thing.
That's incredible, Joyce.
Yeah, I've had some really amazing. But, we all do. And we say, oh, no, I don't believe it. And, George, you always say there's no such thing as accidents. And I believe that that's true.
Things happen for a reason. I've always believed that. Fate steps in.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know if we have time before we go to a break, but I wanted to share with the audience what happened when I did not listen about an accident. Now, I believe that if an accident happens, it's for a reason. It's supposed to happen. You always say that. I listen to everything you say. And I was awakened one night a number of years ago, and I was told I could see myself with my face being torn open and having a terrible accident. And there were rats tearing at my face, and it was just horrible. I woke up screaming, and my guides told me not to go out for 24 hours. They said, stay home and you'll be fine. You will not have an accident. But the next day was a beautiful August day. It was the middle of August. And my brother came by with his children and my children. He said, come on, let's all go to the beach. And I said, no, I can't go out. And my brother Joseph said, no, it's August 17th. We have to go. This is, it's beautiful out. So they basically carried me to the car against my will. And we went out on Long Island to Southampton. It was Cooper's Beach in Southampton. And I had a really, really bad feeling about this. I was just terrified. I just had the feeling something terrible was going to happen.
Oh,
and in a matter of moments of walking on the beach with the sun shining in my eyes, my husband said, stop walking because you're covered with blood. And I had walked into a rusty piece of beach wall was sticking out and my face open.
Yeah. Slit you.
So,
wow.
Yeah, I really destroyed my face, and I had to have years of reconstruction. So that was really very traumatizing because I was on television. And when the surgeon was the plastic surgeon was spelling out my face, he said, I understand you've been on television. You're on television. I said, yes. He said, well, you forget that. He said, you're never going to be on TV again. Just because, it's just not going to be possible. So he said, prepare yourself. Well, I didn't believe him because I heard God speak to me. God said, let him do what he has to do, but ignore him, and you'll be fine. So I was a mess for a long time. I had many, many procedures over the years, and eventually I was able to go back on television again. It was on Oprah. I watched a lot of television, but it took me years of reconstruction because I did not listen. I allowed myself to be swayed and to have an accident occur. So, George, you're 100% right.
Hold on for a second, Joyce. We'll come back and talk more right here on Coast to Coast AM. And welcome back to Coast. We're back with Joyce Keller, psychic medium. We will take calls with Joyce next hour here on Coast to Coast. She will do some readings as well. We will need you to give Tom your name, obviously, and your full birth date, like June 8th, 1990, or whenever you're born, and she'll go with that. Joyce, let's talk for a moment about prayer. What do you think of it?
I think prayer is essential. It really sets up the correct vibration of what your intention is. And even if you don't believe in it, you should try it anyway. And I think the most powerful prayers are the prayers from mothers to children or dads about their children, because those come from the heart, or prayers that really are of essential need. There are angels who really hear those prayers and will respond. The prayers that are done by rote, like many religions just repeat the rosary over and over again, those prayers are important too because they have power from all the people who are using the same energy. There are different types of prayer, and they're all extremely powerful. So I would say yes, prayer, meditation, which is simply filling up the mind and listening to that little still small voice within.
Are they always answered, Joyce?
No.
Whoa.
You know why? Because it has to be in keeping with your karmic destiny. It can't just be that you're asking for a new car or, it's like maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't. There are many factors that go into it. I think we have about 80% of a predestined life, and it's like 20% free will. So it's like 80-20, but it's very variable. It depends on who the person actually is. So our prayers can interact. We can have a rewriting of our life plan. It's like a blueprint that we agreed to before we're born. I remember being born and the life that came before that, which was choosing my parents. And I deliberately chose the mother that I had. I was so excited and so in love with his mother and father, because my dad was a pharmacist. I loved the drugs that he was using. And my mother was a great, great psychic, as you know, and a medium. So I said, this is great. I can't wait to be born to these people. And it was exactly as I wanted. And my mother immediately, I was actually a baby. We were just teaching me dream analysis and teaching me metaphysics from an early age. So I've been doing this all my life. My mother was so gifted.
Yeah, you got this gift from your mother. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, but my grandparents, both of them, or both grandmothers, were, I don't want to say what they were, but I know that they did metaphysics, I'll put it that way. So I think it goes down to generations. And you met my son, Scott Keller, and my daughter is a writer, and she actually wrote this last book, the education book with me, Why Am I Here? So people wander around saying, why am I here? Why? So that hopefully will answer a few questions.
When you both wrote the book, The Joy of Miracles, back last year.
Yes. And that was the first time I actually had no publisher. I went directly to Amazon. I said, I can't wait for a whole year.
Did you basically self-publish yourself?
Well, if you go to Amazon, yes, you can write whatever you want. They left off half of the book, but I didn't care because no one accused me of anything. No one said anything. They said, fine. But you want to write? It's great. And it was out in about a week.
I'm losing you on the phone a little bit, Joyce.
Oh, okay. I don't know why, but is that better?
That's better, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Amazon is terrific because they publish quickly and easily, and they'll send you royalties, so they're pretty good. They put it directly into your bank account. So I had great publishers like Simon & Schuster, but they can be very difficult also. They do a lot of rewriting and changing. I wrote a book, which I thought was great, called Bridging the Gap, What Happens Before, During, and After Death, which I thought a lot of people would like to read. And they changed it to 7 Steps to Heaven, how to communicate with your loved ones and your angels. So you don't always, I guess that's the answer to your publishing question. But, George, I wanted to ask you, I heard a few weeks ago you said when you were about 15, you asked your teacher if there was more life in the universe in addition to what we have on the Earth.
Right.
And I thought that was amazing for a 15-year-old child to say that.
I was very tuned in, Joyce, at that young age, and I was convinced. And I told him, he didn't believe me. I told him, I said, there's life teeming throughout the universe like ours. It's intelligent. It's on other planets because this primordial soup is the same all over the place. And he said, George, there are only planets in our solar system. And I said, you will see that there are planets all over the place. And this is before we even discovered anything outside of our solar system.
George, you're way ahead of your time. Honestly, I'm very impressed that you were able to challenge him. Can you imagine that he actually would answer your question in such a limited way, that he didn't have the ability to see beyond what he was saying?
That's right. He did not.
So that's pretty terrible. But I have had some, not a lot, but a lot of some experience with otherworldly entities, we'll call it that. And now everyone is talking about Arcturians. But after I lost my husband, I guess I spent a lot of time alone. And one night I was sleeping, and no one had ever mentioned the word Arcturian to me, or Arcturia. I had not heard the word. It was like 2016, I guess. And I was sleeping in New Jersey, and I was awakened. And this was my actual first experience with an otherworldly adventure. I was sleeping, and I was told to get up and go out onto our little deck, which was over the Hudson River. I went out, and they said, okay, you see this little light in the sky? It was like a little tiny white light, very, very far off in the distance. And they said, go get your daughter. She was staying with me. So I went and got my daughter, Elaine.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, okay, let her stand in front of you. I could hear it telepathically in my head. Let her stand in front of you if we would like to speak with her. I said, okay. So she was sleeping, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I took her out. I don't know if this was physical or how this was done. I really cannot. I'm honest now. I'm telling you, I really don't know if it was physical. She has no memory of this, but it actually happened. So the 2 of us are out on my deck, which was a very small deck over the Hudson River, and this light became gradually brighter and brighter and brighter until it was exactly a triangle, which was precisely the size of my deck.
Wow.
And they said, hi. It was a blinding light. I could not see anything. They said, we are the Arcturians. Which I had a problem remembering it at the time because I had never heard it before. And they said, we would like to speak with Elaine. We'd like to speak with your daughter. So I put her in front of me, but I was holding on to her pajamas very tightly. I said, they're not taking her. They're not going to take her. So
is that what they wanted?
They spoke to her telepathically for 15 minutes. And I have no idea what they said, but they said, you're going to, the essence of it, from what I could gather, is that we were starting a new phase because her life did change after that. She went very much in a different direction.
Are you still visited by them?
Yes, I am, but not quite with that kind of enthusiasm, because when they finished with her, they said, thank you, and they closed the light. The light narrowed down, and they were gone in a heartbeat. So we went back to sleep, and I asked her the next day if she had any memory of this, and she said no. But I know, as a certified hypnotherapist, that under hypnosis she would remember, she would know. But my feeling is that they told her exactly what she's doing now, more writing metaphysically and more. She even has a dog named Arcturus. So she's very much involved with the Arcturian teachings. And the Arcturians are, from what I understand, the umbrella energy over the planet. They work with the Pleiadians and with all of the myriad of entities that are seen and unseen. So they're really a very powerful force in the universe. So that was my first memory that I can physically remember.
Why don't the ETs step in and fix some of the ills of this planet, many of which we're going through right now?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question, George. I believe that at a certain point they may, if things really accelerate and are out of hand. But in the meantime, we have free will on the planet. We have the gift of free will from God. So they really cannot interfere during this current time. But if it comes to a point where it escalates beyond a certain point of acceptability, and I have no idea what that is, that there would be interference at that time. And by that, they would, as you just said, fix it. And there may be a shutting down of energy on the planet, or the grid may be affected. I'm really not sure exactly what would happen. But I feel that the current war that we're experiencing may have a slight period of improvement, and Egypt is going to do something to help them. But it may go on for more than a year, and then It's anyone's guess. But I don't think it'll be permanent. And then what happens after that is that we have a glorious period that comes after we have all the fighting on the earth and all the negativity that we're experiencing now. So there's going to be much happiness and much joy, but it's not going to be for a while.
Do you believe, Joyce, we're being visited by different forms of extraterrestrials?
Oh, I think there are thousands of them.
Yeah.
And they're, the internet is so amazing and so terrific because I don't know if it's just the websites I go to or what, but you actually can see pictures of the different types of entities that are visiting us. So all that is out there, and it's easy to see. So I've had many experiences since that time because they really are able to elevate our consciousness. So I'm able to do much more with the Akashic records, and I'm able to help many more people because they really know how to work with our energies, how to make us even better than we are. That's everybody.
How do people listen to you on the radio?
I'm on Blog Talk Radio, and I do a show by myself, 3 o'clock in the New York area on Wednesdays, and then I'm with Ryan McCormick on Thursday nights at 9 p.m., also on Blog Talk Radio. So you just go to the paranormal section, I guess, and it's time for joy, and it's also, I don't know what Ryan calls the show. I think Messages from Heaven.
But when you're on it, you sound like you're having some fun.
I love to have fun because my mother taught us to always laugh about everything because it raises the vibrations of everything. So she said, when I die, when she passed away, she said, I don't want you all to be gloomy. I want you all to laugh and have fun. I said, well, Ma, that's not going to be possible. We're going to be sad to lose you.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you laugh. She said, because laughing is so much better than crying. And remember, this is a woman who wasn't able to walk. She had many physical problems. So,
how old was she when she passed?
She was in her 70s. But
that's still young. That's young.
Yeah. But she made us laugh in her gravesite. And if that's possible, because we were all given flowers by the undertaker, and my brother's flower blew out of his hand, blew a few graves down. So he said, okay, I'll go get my flower. Don't bury Mom yet. I'll be right back. So he bounced over a couple of graves, and when he went down to get the rose, his pants split completely open. So everyone started laughing. So indeed, we spent the day laughing and crying, and it was really wonderful. It's what my mother wanted.
Magical.
Joy.
Magical. Should we be afraid of dying?
Am I afraid of dying?
Should anybody be?
Should anyone be afraid of dying? Absolutely not. I've had so many experiences on the other side where it's glorious, and it's absolutely so much better than what we have here, which is so challenging. If we wish to stay there, we can indefinitely. There are many, many dimensions, and you can just go on and on and on. If you wish to come back to the earth and help, as you are doing, George, as hopefully I am also, many people are helping now, you can come back to the earth. And many of us incarnate many, many, many thousands of times. And you can come here just once. We have a lot of free will. And our angels and guides will speak with us, and they'll say, well, it might be a good idea, George, if you went back and did an even different type of radio show. I think you need to go back again, George. People love you. So you have that kind of free will going on. You have choices.
Joyce, we're going to take calls with you when we come back, and what you need. If they want a reading, that you need their full birth date, right?
I would appreciate that. And a first name, that would be terrific.
Yeah, I'll pass that on to you in the city they're in. We'll be doing that. And if you just have a question of Joyce, do that too. If you want to talk about angels and miracles, ask her questions about that as well. Her website is her name, JoyceKeller.com, linked up at coasttocoastam.com. A few of her books, and she's got many: The Joy of Miracles, Why Am I Here?, 7 Steps to Heaven, Calling All Angels, and they're available all over the place, especially on Amazon.com.